Hello, everyone. I bring great news. It seems Mario's going to join us next time to let us listen to the Queen of the Ashi's message. Something very important from what I hear. I wonder if it's tied to anything we're doing. Well, only time will tell, I guess. Let's get back to fantasy football for a second. You all play in your minds, trapped in the void, trying to unlock the power of the Green Bowl. Did you ever think you were prisoners to the will of the trophy? I mean, it is amazing that you can all tap into the feeds while floating in nothingness. Last week I mentioned that I believe there's a connection, matches that I replayed in my head to see the results. But where was the match in each of these? Those of you near the cracks in the void, touching a different time, space, and perhaps dimension, who is showing that they are tapping into the most energy from the ripple that punched a hole through worlds. Constance knows a lot about this. I wish she was here. I have strange dreams, but I'm not sure if anything is real. But let me go through the rankings so far. From what I see, Risky Business is 5-1 at home, Pounders 4-1, Minerva's Minions 3-2, the Stellar Bitches 2-2, the Overcomers 2-2, Remember the Titans 2-3, Loki Lebowski Thor 2-3, the Elite Mother Tuckers 2-3, More Than Conquerors 2-4, the Clash Head Demon Head 1-3, Air Jordan 1-4, Green Acres 1-5. The top 3 will be needed for more investigation of their areas, but there are still some matches to be played. Until we have clarity, let's listen to another transmission. I believe this is the final area. Maybe this will be a big clue. I believe this is the area of Minerva's minions. Let's listen.
Rome, 1890. The Cadice Zanadelli abolished capital punishment. It also recognized the right to strike. Zanadelli, a minister of justice. Laws must be written so even the uneducated knows what it means. Justice? What is this about? I'm fatigued. How long have I traveled? Look at the team names flashing before me. I feel like my end is coming. Something is here. I'm drying out. Something is close. I'm a floating mist ready to evaporate. Wait. It moves. This thing is reaching out. But it isn't just me. Franklin, everyone. Its arms are closing in. Hundreds of arms. Franklin, you will need to fight it. Everyone. The only way to escape, you must fight. The key will get you out, but don't let this follow you. It will not stop until everyone is devoured. Wait. Memory hazy, but something flashes. What? Where? Where are these places? Have I been here? Or is this where I'm going next? I cannot tell. Why is this so difficult? I must be trapped. I need to escape. The key is close, but it is incomplete. Something is missing. No, it's dormant, waiting for something. Is this why I keep seeing that game? Franklin? The cracks are everything. Rome, 1890. Harvard was crowned the national champions this year, 11-0. Outscored opponents 555-12. But it was in the East. The Midwest and South are only getting started, and the elites control the top teams at this time. Distractions again. Are they meant to trap me? To allow me to get caught? Franklin, who am I? You must know. It could possibly help me. It could give me a piece of myself back. Too torn apart, losing energy. This may be the final transmission. Please, Franklin, you all must save yourselves. Find the key. You will know once you hear from the Queen.
Welcome to the quest for the Green Ball, Lost in Dreamlands, and welcome back to Divisional Play. It's been a long 2 months since we were last in our own divisions, and a lot has happened since then. Trades, winning and losing streaks, tiebreaker madness, the Bears doing Bears things. It's been a fun and wild ride to this point, to say the least, and things are about to get nuttier because we are officially in the witching hour of the regular season. That's right, when those on the outside become those on the inside, and when rough starts to the season become divisional title campaigns. We've had some wild seasons in the past, but this one is shaping up to be a close battle of epic proportions, with the amount of teams still legitimately alive. Even 4 and 7 teams have a chance still, with them only being a game back of the last wildcard spot. 5 and 6 teams are 1 game back of the 5th playoff spot. And all 3 divisions are still in question, with just 1 clinching scenario this week, and it still needs multiple results. Multiple postseason spots can be clinched this week, however. Those teams will probably feel good, and then they just got to worry about seeding and all that. The festivities begin this week in the European Void with our final scheduled of 2024, because week 13 and 14 are flex weeks. We get 7 and 4 first place More Than Conquerors traveling to Rome 1890 to take on my second place 6 and 5 Minerva's Minions. First place is on the line, and the winner will have an upper hand the rest of the way. If Minerva's Minions wins, they move into first place based on divisional record and reduce their magic number for a postseason berth to 1. If More Than Conquerors wins, they reduce their magic number to clinch the division to 1. This is a huge match, and the computer sees this as well, giving the Minions a slim 57% chance to win at the moment, though moves can still be made for both sides. The computers also say this is going to be an epic battle where 100 points will not be enough. The obvious place to look at first is at both teams' number 1 stars. Saquon Barkley was drafted 5th overall by the Minions and has been a beast in most games, with game script being the only enemy so far. More Than Conquerors acquired Joe Mixon in a trade with the Stellar Bitches, and one of the biggest steals this season. Mixon had his best game last week, but has been solid almost every week when he's not putting up 30. The quarterbacks are both inconsistent this season, but can not only be serviceable, but can also do very well in the right matchup. Patrick Mahomes has a better matchup than Kyler Murray this week, but Murray also runs well and can easily make up for a lackluster passing game if necessary. Kenneth Walker and David Montgomery are both solid running backs as well. Touchdowns are still key here because both can get vultured by teammates when it comes to yards and scores. Montgomery has Gibbs taking touchdowns. Kenneth Walker has Charbonnet taking touchdowns sometimes. Scary Terry McLaurin had a rough week last week, but he has shown he is mostly matchup proof this season if Jaden Daniels isn't limited or injured. Something seemed off with Daniels last week, but that was on a short week, so we'll see after the kind of de facto bye when you get 10 days of rest. CeeDee Lamb has a backup throwing his way, which could limit him at times, but he also showed he's too good to be held down for too long, and the matchup is pretty great here. Travis Kelce has an edge over David Njoku because of the teams they play on, but Njoku is getting a lot of targets lately. This is a very key spot here. George Pickens versus Deebo Samuel should be very fun to watch at the flex position. Samuel gets a bigger boost if George Kittle is out again, but because both get yards each week, touchdowns will be the biggest key to an advantage. More Than Conquerors has the edge at kicker with Austin Seibert versus Jason Myers. Myers is a bye-week replacement for the Minions, and Seibert is an injury replacement for More Than Conquerors. The Chiefs' defense has a clear edge for the Minions regardless of who More Than Conquerors uses, even if he picks another team off waivers. This leaves two guys I think might be the true reason for either side winning this week. For More Than Conquerors, we have to look at wide receiver DK Metcalf. Metcalf is the number 1 wide receiver in an offense with Geno Smith throwing the ball. Smith is a yards machine, but he tends to struggle in the red zone a little bit. Metcalf makes things better because he can stretch the field in a big way. Metcalf also is a target machine and has over 100 yards 3 times. And over 70 yards 4 times this season. He has 3 touchdowns. That's kind of low. All of them on big passing plays, though. He's getting that bonus point. Again, targets are key, though. He has had 7 or more targets in 6 games and double-digit targets in 3 games. So he's getting opportunities. He missed a few weeks with a knee injury, came back last week and caught 7 and 9 targets for 70 yards. Metcalf has also done very well in the better matchups, and he gets another one this week. The Arizona Cardinals are ranked 18th versus wideouts in fantasy football. They've allowed 8 touchdowns, and they have allowed a team's top wideout to get over 70 yards or score a touchdown in 5 of 10 games. The Cardinals gave up 75 yards and a score to Amon-Ra St. Brown in Week 3, 147 yards to Brandon Ayuk in Week 5, and 104 yards to Rome Odunze in Week 9. They allowed other touchdowns to Terry McLaurin, Romeo Doubs, Christian Watson, Jaden Reed, Khalil Shakir, and Mac Hollins. As you can see, a lot of that came from the Bills and Packers. If Metcalf can join this list, he will offer a huge boost and was expected to be a very close match with a lot on the line. But if Metcalf somehow is kept out of the end zone, those missed points could come back to haunt More Than Conquerors. For my squad, Minerva's Minions, I'm going to take a look at the Sun God. That's right, wide receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown. We actually mentioned him up there with what he did against the Cardinals. St. Brown had his best week last week. And he's on a team that could run it down your throat, though. So you got to keep that in mind. Game script will sometimes limit
what the Sun God can do. But he has scored a touchdown in 8 straight games, including 2 times last week. He's had over 100 yards 3 times this season, and he's had over 50 yards 6 times. He has scored double-digit fantasy points in all but 3 games this year. And just like DK Metcalf, the Sun God is a target machine. He has 6 or more targets in 8 games, 8 or more targets in 5 games this season. The Colts defense is ranked 17th against wide receivers and have allowed 9 touchdowns to the position. It's kind of a matchup like Metcalf versus Arizona. They've allowed a team to have a 100-yard receiver 5 times and a team to have someone finish with over 70 yards 10 times. So obviously yards could be there. They allowed scores to Stephon Diggs twice, Dontavian Wicks, Rome Odunze, Brian Thomas, Nick Westbrook-Akine, Tank Dell, Jordan Addison, and Jalen Naylor. Besides maybe Diggs, maybe Brian Thomas, a lot of those guys are more secondary guys that could actually mean that Jameson Williams could possibly vulture the Sun God here. But the Lions do seem to try to get Amon-Ra into the end zone, even in blowouts. Testament to the 8 straight games reaching the end zone. If the Sun God produces again and keeps his touchdown streak alive, that could mean an advantage over Metcalf and a higher percentage for the Minions to win. But if the streak ends and the Lions decide to run the ball more, that could spell doom, especially with Montgomery on the other side. Either way, this one is going to be fun. It certainly has a playoff feel, doesn't it? And both teams, I know I and my squad are hungry, only ever finishing as Green Bowl runner-ups in this league. Both of us want to up that, become champions. With so many close races throughout the league, there are several other juicy matchups on the slate. Let's get to them in the best of the rest. European Void matchup, we get what could end up being the reason why either team misses the playoffs. As 5-6 Loki Lebowski Thor travels to Barcelona in 1992 to take on 5-6 the Clash at Demon Head. Lebowski Thor will certainly need to make a lot of coaching moves in a bye-week hell, with both running backs, the tight end, and the kicker all out this week. This is a lot of star power. We're talking no Alvin Kamara, no Chase Brown, no Taysom Hill. And there are not a lot of options on the bench, meaning the waiver wire will need to come into play. It could be rough for the surging 2-time champion. The Clash at Demon Head has a 90% chance to win right now. Jalen Hurts versus Jordan Love, Tyreek Hill versus Jameson Williams, and DeAndre Hopkins versus Jaden Reed all look to be big for Lebowski Thor to have any chance. The Vikings versus Ravens defense battle is another spot Lebowski Thor has to win. Moving on to the American Void, 2-9 Air Jordan travels to Mexico 1955 to take on 5-6 the Stellar Bitches in a must-win situation for the home team. Air Jordan comes in with a 56.8% chance to win at the moment, though. The Stellar Bitches still need a kicker, however. Bo Nix versus Jared Goff, Najee Harris versus Javonte Williams, Jonathan Brooks versus Rashawn Johnson, and Zay Flowers versus Cortland Sutton are all interesting areas. Both teams need touchdowns in what is expected to be a low-scoring battle. First place 7-4, remember the Titans, travels to Toronto 22-35 to face 4-7 the Overcomers in a match with implications for both. The Overcomers need to most likely win out to make the playoffs. Remember the Titans can clinch the division with a win and a loss by the Stellar Bitches. The Overcomers have a 59% chance to win once they add their kicker to the lineup. CJ Stroud will need to do something, though. He has been horrible for fantasy lately. Brock Purdy clearly has the advantage at quarterback. Other key areas include Derrick Henry versus Jamar Gibbs, Aaron Jones versus Chuba Hubbard, Cooper Kupp versus A.J. Brown, and Jawan Jennings versus Rome Odunze. Don't sleep on the Buccaneers defense versus the Lions or Malik Neighbors versus Tyrone Tracy. Lastly, we move to the Asia Pacific Void. 8-3 Risky Business travels to Tokyo 1981 to take on defending champion 4-7 Green Acres. Green Acres needs to win out to have any chance to make the playoffs, and Risky Business is in a tough first place race with Pounders. Risky Business can also clinch a postseason berth with a win or a loss by the Clash at Demon Head. This one is surprisingly a 50-50 toss-up right now, though. Russell Wilson or Geno Smith versus Sam Darnold or Baker Mayfield will be interesting, depending on who each squad picks. Kyron Williams and J.K. Dobbins versus Christian McCaffrey and Ramondre Stevenson is a huge spot. Justin Jefferson and the expected return of Mike Evans versus Nico Collins and Puka Nacua is also huge. The Dolphins versus Steelers defense battle might end up pushing both these teams into the 100s this week. Finally, first place 8-3 Pounders hosts the 5-6 Elite Mother Tuckers in Beijing 31-45 in another big matchup. Pounders looks to keep his lead in the division and add to the divisional record against the only divisional opponent that beat him earlier this season. The Elite Mother Tuckers hope to keep hold of the final wild card spot. A Pounders win clinches a postseason berth, so does a loss by Loki Lebowski Thor. The Elite Mother Tuckers come in with a 61.7% chance to win, though. It will be Lamar Jackson, currently in the lineup, or Jaden Daniels for Pounders this week, with Josh Allen on a bye. Justin Herbert looked good last week, so this will be a key spot in the lineup. James Conner versus Devon Achane and Jackson Smith and Jigma versus Devontae Smith should also loom large. George Kittle may return from an injury, making that a big tight end battle against Brock Bowers. And Austin Eckler versus Noah Brown will be an interesting flex battle. The Commanders and Texans defenses have good matchups, so high scores are expected for both. A lot going on this week as one division can be clinched and multiple postseason berths could happen. The wild card race for the final two playoff spots could have more clarity or somehow be even closer if that's possible. This is a crucial week for multiple teams. It's also trade deadline time for anyone thinking they need to make that one more move to make a true run. The deadline is before midnight on Friday, November 22nd, so circle that day. It's going to be a fun day, possibly. However, so many trades have already happened, it might actually be slow this year after some eventful final days the previous couple of years. I mean, we had some blockbusters last year for sure. I am sure that some teams are trying to make a move as we speak, though. Will they get any bites? Will more draft picks be traded? I don't know. We're going to have to see. That's the show for the week. Hope you enjoyed it. The Week 13 Game of the Week will be announced on Instagram at eclectic_Yotso following the conclusion of Monday night's game. Next week's schedule will remain the same with episodes out Wednesday and Thursday, so Thanksgiving will not affect that. Before you go, take a look at the updated standings, which now includes a look at the wild card race too. Until next time, salut.